my name is Mary Bush with Stampin' in the Sand, and I'm thrilled to have been asked by Splitcoaststampers to bring you my triple fold card tutorial. Today we're going to be making this Christmas card. All of the products that I am using today are from Stampin' Up. However, this card is easily adaptable to any stamp, ink, and paper that you may have in your supply. It is also very easy to recreate for other occasions, birthdays, thinking of you, etc. And I have a few more samples that I'll be sharing in the gallery after this video has gone live on Splitcoast, so you can be sure to check the gallery after and see my other samples. So let's get started on this card. If you've already printed off your supply list, then you know that we are starting with a 5.5 by 11 inch piece of cardstock. This is going to be for our card base, and we're going to score it at 1 3/4, 5.5, and 9 3/4. Okay, so that's our scoring. That's all you're going to need your scoreboard for. And then we are going to score to form our card. So I've folded it at the 5.5 inch score mark. Then I'm going to fold back and overlap. So now we have our card base. Next, we're going to bring in our pattern paper. And we have 3 pieces here. So we have our 3.5 by 5 1/4. Then we have a piece that is 1.5 by 5 1/4 and one that is 1 by 5 1/4. I'm also going to be embellishing the front of my card with a couple of pine tree die cuts. These came from the Stampin' Up! Pine Woods dies, but you can use any embellishment that you would like for your card. And my 3 pieces of designer series paper are all from the same collection. So it means that I will know that they will coordinate nicely together and take the guesswork out of it, make it a lot easier. It's also how I chose my inks, my ink colors, so that everything coordinates beautifully. So this is the 3.5 by 5 1/4 inch piece of pattern paper, and I'm going to adhere that to the largest front panel. Sorry, this is slippery. Okay, then I'm going to take my die cut trees and I'm going to adhere them to the card front. Now, one thing I would suggest, which I did not do, is if you have intricate dies such as this pine tree, you could use some adhesive sheets instead, or a Dymo label maker. This glue makes it a little more difficult, but it gets the job done. It just makes it a little more difficult to adhere everything. So there's my first tree, and then I'm just going to come in with my second tree. And adhere that. And I'm going to overlap him just slightly. Oops. He does not want to stick. Okay. Next, I'm going to fold this flap over, and I'm going to adhere my next piece of designer series paper. This is the 1.5 inch wide piece. So that's going to go right here on this flap. Next, I'm going to bring in my 1 inch piece of designer series paper or pattern paper. Fold this flap over, and now this one will adhere on here. And you just want to line it up so that they all make one unified border. Okay, let that set for just a second. Next, you're going to bring in your 1 inch by 11 inch piece of cardstock. This is going to form your belly band. So I'm just going to lay that down, and I just wrap. I don't always score it or necessarily score it, because not all folds are going to fold exactly the same. If your score is off just a bit, or your paper folds a little bit differently, your score marks could be off. So I'm just going to glue down my belly band. And hold that for just a second. And then also included in your supply list were 2 layering labels or punches, die cut labels or punches. I'm using 2 labels here. They are Stampin' Up. They came from Stampin' Up's Tasteful Label Dies, and I've cut them in 2 coordinating cardstock pieces that coordinate with my designer series paper. So my larger one here, I am going to actually flat glue onto my belly band, like so. And then as that dries, I'm going to do my stamping on this label here. So I'm bringing in 3 stamps and coordinating inks that coordinate with my designer series paper. Whoops, dropped a block. So we have, for this tutorial, I am using the new Curvy Christmas stamp set from Stampin' Up. However, as I said, you can use any stamp that you have in your collection. I'm going to ink up my focal image here, which are these trees, and I'm lining them up on my label so they follow the curve of my label. And I stamp those in green. So I'm going to stamp that. So that was actually shaded spruce, if you're following with the exact colors. Next, I'm coming in with a deep red. This happens to be Cherry Cobbler. And I'm going to stamp my Merry Christmas. Now, depending on how your trees fall, your Merry Christmas may be to one side of the label or the other. In my original, it was more to the left. In this one, it's going more to the right. So we're stamping that. And then I'm going to bring in my Sahara Sand, which is a tan. And that's also found in my designer series paper. And I'm just gonna stamp a few random stars just to fill in some of the gap. So that's our stamping. Then I'm going to grab some twine, or this is linen thread, and I'm just gonna make kind of a little loop around my fingers and snip that off. Give it a little twist in the middle to hold it together. And this is going to actually get attached to the back of my stamped label. Oops. I don't know why. I always have the worst time with this. Okay, so that is going to get layered under our label, and I'm going to use dimensionals or foam pop dots for that, because this is going to get popped up on the front. And I'm going to use the dimensionals, if I can get the backing off, to hold down the linen thread. And I want to try to get as little bulk as possible. Okay, so then this can go on the front of the card onto our belly band, like so. And believe it or not, that is our completed card. That's how simple this card is. So you'll slip off your belly band. You can embellish the inside as you desire. And this is your completed card. And of course, I can't see what I'm doing. I'm trying to keep my head out of the camera. So it does slide on a lot easier when you're not trying to do it on a video. So there's the completed card. And just to give you another idea for completing the card, I stamped my envelope with a coordinating image. And then on the inside, I used a coordinating sentiment from my stamp set, added the trees down at the bottom and some stars so that it ties everything together. So thank you very much for watching my tutorial. I hope that you enjoy creating this project, and I hope that you will share your creations in the gallery. So thanks again, and happy stamping. Bye.